Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Putin's response to the idea that Ukraine was behind what happened to the pipelines. Because he had a pretty short and sweet response to that storyline. And that response was it's sheer nonsense. He does not appear to believe the recent reporting saying that 6 people, civilians or non-state people from Ukraine, were behind the hit on the pipeline. Now, we have a question about that. Putin just dismissing the idea that Ukraine did the pipeline just makes me believe it. It doesn't really make sense for him to say Ukraine didn't do it. It seems like it would motivate his troops and give him justifications. Why would he say they didn't do it? Putin now has a reputation in the West as just basically anything he says is a lie. And I think that's weighing heavily on how people are reading this. I think the reason he said that he thinks it's sheer nonsense is because he thinks it's sheer nonsense. Keep in mind the plot line, the idea that 6 non-state actors pulled that off with no assistance, no help from anybody. It's possible. I don't know that it's likely. And I think that the reason Putin responded the way he did is because he doesn't believe it. I don't know that this is a situation where you should attribute him being deceitful to it. He very well might have just said it's sheer nonsense because he believes it's sheer nonsense. And then from the other side of it, I honestly think that if he did believe it, he would still say that it's sheer nonsense. I don't think that Putin's messaging is helped by the idea that 6 random Ukrainians pulled this off. From Putin's perspective, he wants Russians at home to feel safe. He doesn't want them to think that, the war could come to them. If 6 random Ukrainians were able to do that to the pipeline, well, they could hit anywhere. That's not messaging that Putin would put out. Even if he did believe it, I think that he would say he didn't. And it doesn't help him on the international stage either. It would be better for him if there was evidence that the U.S. helped or the United Kingdom or something like that. And I think that his response of it's sheer nonsense, and he went on to say that basically you need skills to do this, was his way of kind of indicating his belief that even if the people who actually did it, who actually went there and dove down and did it, even if they were non-state actors, they had state help. They had state training. They had state resources. Which, to be honest, that makes a whole lot more sense. It's not impossible for 6 people to do this on their own. It isn't. It's something that absolutely could occur. But it's a whole lot more likely that there was some kind of assistance. I do not have a firm theory on who was behind it. I have, the usual suspects, and then I would also throw in that most people aren't looking at it from the possibility of a corporate actor. It's a pipeline. There's a lot of money to be made. And those who stand to benefit economically from Russia not having that pipeline, they have a huge motive. And that's not really being examined by anybody. So, in this case, I think Putin is telling the truth. I think the reason he's saying it's sheer nonsense is because he believes it's sheer nonsense. And even if he believed, or there was some intelligence to suggest that it was 6 civilian Ukrainians who did it, I think he would still continue to suggest that they had help. Because that's really bad messaging at home for him. Because if partisan Ukrainians can do that, well, they can get anywhere. And that is not messaging he wants. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.